to 13th chapter of Luke, one verse 25. Luke 13, verse 25. Stand with us, please, would you? When once the master of the house is risen up, and hath shut to the door, and ye begin to stand without, and to knock on the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not, whence ye are. Father, bless this your word. Guide our minds and hearts this morning. Give us ears to hear and a mouth to speak. We pray in Christ's name. And amen. Thank you. You may be seated. If I were to title the sermon this morning, it would be The Shutting of the Door. And I want to look at some various passages this morning having to do with that. The first thing I want to tell you this morning about the shutting of the door is that sometimes God comes and shuts out the world for us who are obedient to Him. 2 Kings 4, verse 4 and 5. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy son, and shalt pour out into all these vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. God said, shut the door upon ye and your sons, and I'm going to bring a miracle to you that you won't believe. Sometimes we just need to get alone. We need to get by ourselves. We need to kind of shut out all of the things that are going on. And God comes when we shut out the door and are obedient to Him. Vessel full after vessel full after vessel full behind the closed doors at the command of God. And then 2 Kings 4:33. He went in therefore and shut the door upon them twain and prayed unto the Lord. There'd been a death in the family. Prophet had come. And you read this scripture. He went in therefore, shut the door, amen, upon them both, and prayed unto the Lord. And the result was life was restored to the one who had passed away. See, if we just shut out all of this other stuff, sometimes God really comes and blesses us abundantly. And in Matthew 6 and 6, we have this instruction. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father, which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. I don't know that it necessarily would require the literal shutting of the door, although that certainly would be helpful. But certainly, figuratively shutting the door. being alone with God. All of the distractions. We preached the whole sermon about distractions one day since we've been here. Yeah. The devil can just get you distracted and you may miss something. So shut out all of the distractions. Shut out all of the things that would disturb you and spend some time with God. And God will come when we shut the door to the world and are obedient to Him. There are also times when the shutting of the door can be divine protection. When I was a child, nobody locked their doors in Collinsdale. You could have walked up on most anybody's porch and walked in. We didn't feel the need. Now you got a deadbolt and another lock. Amen. You know, and a screen door with a lock, and because we feel protected behind our locked doors. Genesis 7:16 says this, and they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Folks, it's going to rain. It was like it had never rained. In fact, it had never rained, now that I think about it. Amen. But the water came up and the water came down. But God shut them in. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, and a matched pair of the animals of the earth. And God, in His divine protection, shut them in. I don't know whether Noah could have shut the door or not, but I know God did.
Yes, Amen.
And it was protection for them. Genesis 19:10 said, but the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door. You remember the story. Sodom and Gomorrah are soon going to be history. Abraham prayed to God, if I can find 50 righteous people, will you spare the city? Yeah. How about 40, Lord? Yeah. Said, now Lord, don't get put out of shape with me here, but 30? Yeah. 20? Yeah. 10? Yeah. Folks, they couldn't find 10 righteous people in both cities put together. The angels were there. Lot may not have recognized them as such at the time. But the people came to Lot's house and were going to drag these men out. Lot wants to go out and negotiate with them. Folks, sometimes there's no negotiation with sin and evil. And the scripture says, but the men, the angels, put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. Protection. Protection. Sometimes God shuts the door when we're obedient. Sometimes the door is shut because of protection. The shutting of the door can also show selfishness and indifference. Luke 11:7 says this, "And he from within shall answer and say, Trouble me not." The neighbor needed some help. Where do you go when you need a little help? Your neighbor. But the neighbor from within shall answer and say, Trouble me not. The door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give thee. Leave me alone. My door is shut. God, what an indictment on someone. That we can't open the door of our hearts or our minds or of our plenty and share with those who do not have. Whether it's clothes or food or salvation or whatever the need may be. Are we going to shut our door and refuse to be moved by the needs of others? Stay inside with our compassion and let it shine only upon me, my wife, my son, his wife, us four, no more. Praise God. Leave me alone. My door is shut. You see, our good virtue cannot leave if the door to our love and compassion is shut. So open your door this morning. Share your good virtue with your neighbors. And then sometimes the shutting of the door is God's judgment upon us. Matthew 25:10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Now we spent about 30 minutes on that one time. I'm getting a little sad about what all we have done, you know. They had failed to make preparation. And when it finally dawned on them what their need was, and they went out to meet the need, good intentions. But while they were gone, the bridegroom came, and the door was shut. God's judgment, the shutting of that door. Luke 13:35. I read it to you. When once the master of the house has risen up and hath shut to the door, and you begin to stand without and to knock on the door, you're banging and clanging and trying to get him to come and open the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know ye not whence you are. Shutting of the door, God's judgment. It was also God's judgment when he shut the door of the ark. So sometimes the shutting of the door is God's judgment. So I want to say this to you this morning. Do not neglect the open door which no man can shut. There is a door that is always open. No man can shut it. You can't afford to neglect that door. Revelation 3:8 says, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. And I say, thank God for that. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. I have set before thee an open door. And I tell you, this may have been written almost 2,000 years ago. But I tell you this, the door is just as open right this moment as it was when he said, I've set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. The door is open this morning. The choice as to whether we will go in, if we have not, or whether we will stay out, is ours. We get to choose. It's kind of a get in or get out kind of thing. But we have the choice. Because there's coming a time when that door effectively will be shut for you. It may still be open a part of the time, but that door will be shut by your death. It will be no longer make any difference to you if you die, whether that door is open or not. You will have already chosen either to get in or to stay out. It will be closed by the coming of Christ. When He comes, that door will be shut. Or, I think this morning, you can symbolically at least shut that door by neglecting to go in. Because you see, if you don't go in, the open door will not have availed to you anything at all. It can be open. People can walk by this church and the door is open. But if they fail to come in, it will effectively be as though the door was shut. By their neglect, they're leaving the door shut. The choice is ours. I don't intend to harangue the choir this morning, but I want to tell you that there's the door that's open for every one of us to enter in. We make the choice. We either do or we do not. And so I tell you this morning, don't neglect this open door.
Yeah.
If you're not inside this morning, let's get in while the door is open. Stand with us.